Welcome back to NDTV Hindu. You're watching Night Vision. We're now joined in the studio by Mr. Ram Kumar. He's MD of Tube Investments in India Cycles. And to lead us through this discussion, we have Rajiv Lula, our CEO. Rajiv, take it away.
Thank you, Jennifer. And welcome to our studios, Mr. Ram Kumar. I know that you employ about 30 to 37,000 employees in the country, and so it must be really important for you when people say this was a populist budget. What does that mean for the common people? What does that mean for your employees, if you can speak for them?
Yeah, actually, the 37,000 people are in our group, Murugappa Group, which consists of various companies into fertilizers, sugar, etc. Tube Investments of India Limited employs around 10,000 of those in various parts of the country for bicycles, tubes, chains, etc. Very much we think it's populist budget in the sense that there's a lot of money on NRE, GS scheme and a lot of things about waiver of loans for agriculturists and stuff like that. But I think the fillip for industry is going to come from the infrastructure spending, which is more than 100,000 crores. As we see, countries like China and others whom we are competing with, is the infrastructure which is clogging the economic growth in India. So I believe that this is definitely the need of the hour, and that's going to make a difference in terms of the growth for the industry.
So very clearly he went for growth and also tried to find a balance, a fine balance between growth and also an increased outlay in the social sector.
Exactly. I think an attempt has been made to balance between industry and agriculture and the common man, what I think normally people would call as an inclusive kind of growth. But what one needs to see is the kind of deficit that it's going to create in terms of the percentage of deficit, and how they're going to manage it.
Right. But do you think that this 100,000 crores is over the top, or do you think it's enough?
I think it's not enough. I think it is not enough. There is so much to be done. It's just the beginning. And I think the kind of talk which has been made and the noise made by various people across the country, something has been heard. It's a good start, and I'm sure once things start picking up, it gives a multiplier effect because the infrastructure grows, there's a movement of goods, and there's a lot of income generated. Right. That's the way I look at it.
Right. Mr. Ram Kumar, you mentioned 100,000 crores the government's going to spend. Definitely that's going to be good for the infrastructure, for stimulating the bottom of the pyramid, as we know. But along with such expenditures and deficits, comes inflation. So it looks like right now the government is aiming for about 6.8% inflation through the year. Most likely by the time the year ends, past experience suggests that it'll most likely be more than 8%, maybe 7.5%, 8%, 9%. That kind of deficit is definitely going to lead to some inflation, some price hikes and all that. What should the common man brace for?
I think the common man obviously doesn't want much of inflation, but the common man also wants money to be spent in terms of generating income and his livelihood. So I think it's going to be a very delicate balance in terms of how one handles this. I think if all the money goes into very productive sectors, inflation will be under control. If there's too much money chasing and there's not much work done, I think inflation is going to go up. I think now with the government also having a fair amount of majority and solidly in power, they would be able to channelize it properly is what I believe.
Right, and the expenditure actually has been capped at 10,20,838 crores, which is quite, a proud finance minister actually announced that this is the first time we have crossed this 10 lakh mark. So how do you read this, an increase in expenditure? How does it augur under the present circumstances?
See, the expenditure per se is required to stimulate the economy. And it's a question of where you're spending this money. And if it's going to be a lot of non-plan expenditure, then it's not going to generate much. If it's going to go into productive sectors, which is what they're trying to do in infrastructure and other stuff, it'll definitely create employment. But we only hope that finally the expenditure stays at the level which they're saying, because we have seen in the past, last year itself, the estimate of deficit to start with, which moved up from 2% to 6+%. That is controlled, I think then we can move on. Otherwise, we'll become largely debt-oriented and deficit-oriented.
Right. Now, sir, your company deals with exports as well as manufacturing. Do you think that enough has actually been done for the export sector in this budget?
Frankly, no.
You have to explain that then.
Because, see, they have only increased the limit of cover by ECGC. This is for if you export to a foreign country and the amount of money which ECGC will give you. But that happens only if you export. So you collect the money after export. So I think you need to have some shops, especially for the auto component. We are also into largely auto component and we do a lot of exports. It is an industry where it's very badly affected the world over, and Indian companies have invested a lot in terms of capacity. I think here there is a need, they should have done some kind of subsidy. We are up against China, who are always there at our doorstep in terms of various costs and prices. So we would have liked some subsidy for the auto industry with large employment and large investment.
Also, there were some issues about, like he was mentioning something about the Rural Infrastructure Development Fund, creating a special fund out of that Rural Infrastructure Development Fund of 4,000 crores to aid the micro, small and medium scale industries. Now, that is one sector which also employs a huge number of people. So, employment has also been addressed in this case.
Some of these things I think we would like to see how it is spent and what is the net result. I think the intention is good. It is too early to say unless we know how exactly it's going to be implemented. It's going to be tough for us to say at this point of time.
That's kind of key. We've been talking about the bottom of the pyramid. How do you activate it? How do you, we say it's a populist budget and all. In fact, they've done some tiny little things for the top of the pyramid as well. Fringe benefit tax, for example, they've abolished that. How does that help stimulate the economy, especially in your company, up at the top, close to the top? How does it incentivize executives?
Fringe benefit tax is paid by the companies on certain kinds of, benefits which are given, like, perquisites and stuff like that. I don't think it is going to make a very significant impact as far as the corporate taxation is concerned. On the contrary, they have increased the minimum alternate tax. As you know, this tax is paid for companies who actually don't have to pay tax. So we would have expected that there is a reduction in tax, so there would have been a boost to the profits and the stock market. Whereas this is could be quite a dampener, as we have seen from the Sensex and other things which have happened during the day. So I won't say there has been much of help as far as corporate taxation is concerned, which should have definitely helped the growth.
We're going to go back to the export part of your business. The export guarantee scheme has now been extended until March 2010. So does that really benefit the sector?
I think it gives a little comfort, but I don't think it will give any momentum in terms of picking up growth. Since last October, I think most of the industries are down in terms of export, mainly because of the Western economies. The competition is tough. We have to drop the prices. So I think one would have expected some subsidies or some better facilities in terms of shipment, etc., port facilities. That would have definitely helped.
All right.
Another thing that comes to mind, Mr. Ramkumar, is 54%, I think, of the GDP, if my sources are right, is driven out of the service industry. Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, the southern states, I think they're the hub of technology, of manufacturing. It's doing pretty well in this part of the country. How does this budget help the southern states, our economy? Maybe it's too early to dissect it at the state level, but what does your gut say? Does it help the southern states more than it helps, the number one and the number two economies, of course, as we know, is Maharashtra and Gujarat. But overall, since you have a huge employee base here, your industry is based in Tamil Nadu, what does it do? I think it
depends on the amount of money which is going to be spent on infrastructure here. Because the moment that is done, then many of our products would start selling more, be it bicycles or other components we give for the automobiles. And that's the way I think it could benefit from this budget. Otherwise, I don't see any specific relief or some help for any particular industry as such. They have definitely helped the power sector, and wherever we have power plants, I think we'll benefit.
Right. Mr. Ramkumar, we're going to just ask you to stay with us because we're going to take a very short break and we'll be right back to continue this discussion.